All right, everybody, we back, and today we are with the one and only Mark the Shark. I got him to come on the pod. Mark the Shark, my brother, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me, man.
Hell yeah, we've been talking about this for a bit.
We have a couple months overdue.
Bro, this is crazy. Mark is like my best real estate friend. I talk to this fucking dickhead like every single day. I beat his ass in jiu-jitsu. I see him all the time. We've been talking about doing this, and I finally got him on. He's just too busy for us. He's too busy. That's what it's been.
Trying to be doing some deals.
And he's doing a lot of deals. You're doing a lot of deals.
A little bit. Little flips, little wholesales, little novations, whatever pays the bills.
Yeah, whatever pays the bills. Any strategy he wants, he just does.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. So how did you get into real estate? Tell these people.
I got into real estate when COVID started. Honestly, it was like a little hobby for me. I was bored during COVID, didn't really have anything to do, so I bought a house in my neighborhood when I was living back home still with my parents. I was doing all the remodeling myself, like painting, trying to do some plumbing, that stuff. Honestly, everything I did, I messed up, so I ended up hiring it all out. But it was good. I learned some stuff. I saw what goes into a house a little bit, but ended up making some money on that flip, about what I made in my full-time job at the time, full-time corporate job. So I did that like 3 months, like on the side as just like literally a hobby, and kind of was like, hey, this is pretty interesting. Real estate's, there's proof in this stuff. Just kind of saw like the proof in the pudding. And a couple months later, I put some ringless voicemails out, ended up getting a wholesale from that, and ended up JVing it with my boy Matt Minner. And after that, kind of just figured it out from there. So eventually, some guy ended up like posting some job on Facebook, and I applied for it. He ended up hiring me. Actually, he convinced me to quit my job in the corporate world. So that was like a big leap for me. But I worked for him for about 6 months, learned a lot about the industry, about wholesaling, flipping, rentals, everything about marketing and stuff. So that was a big eye-opener and everything. So yeah, that was kind of my start to it. Eventually, about like 8 months after working with him, I went on my own full-time, and I've been here for about 2 years now. So that's my background.
Animal. I dig it.
Of course, bro.
You never go back to the corporate world.
Never. Couldn't.
No way. They wouldn't pay you enough.
Nah, it wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't be worthwhile.
No way, bro. Oh,
no.
I dig that. Well, I've sat down with so many heavy hitters, bro. If you're a heavy hitter, you've sat down on this pod, and everyone, and no matter who they are, from the Field Boys to the Santinis to the George Beanies, everyone, what they say is, bro, you got to talk to Mark about PPC. So for those of you who don't know, PPCs, it's Google ads, and they're expensive and they're complicated to do. There are a lot of businesses that are set up that people will run your PPC for you. It's like the gold mine thing. They're selling everybody the shovels. Fuck that. Mark makes his own shovel. Don't you make your own shovel? Don't you run your own PPC?
A little bit. I've tried a couple ways. I've ran it myself for a little bit. I've hired a national agency. I hired a local agency. I tried a VA over on Upwork. I do it a little bit again myself. So I've tried, honestly, a couple variations of it. It's one of those things where you always kind of optimize and see what's working at the moment. But It's never been something where, hey, we put one guy in a spot and it's been a seamless transaction, or it's going seamless after that. So it's always something you got to adapt with every day, or every month or two, which is a tough part about it. But it's been my bread and butter.
Be on it.
Yeah, you got to be on it. You got to optimize weekly. You got to make sure you're staying on top of your ad spend and your budgets and your keywords, and making sure you're not spending all your money on realtor outreach or apartment outreach, people looking for rentals or something like that. So you got to mess around a lot with it. If you're not messing with it every day or every week, you can really spend a lot of money that you don't want to, and completely worthless ad spend. So yeah, that's been my bread and butter as far as marketing goes. That and a little bit of PPL, but basically anything inbound is my go-to.
How did you stumble upon PPC? Like when you branched off and left the wholesale company, because you was working for a wholesale company, and then eventually you branched off to do your own thing. Was PPC the first thing you started doing? Just like, yo, fuck that, I'm getting right in?
No, it was honestly a little bit of everything. I've always tried cold calling, driving for dollars, PPL, a little bit of direct mail, a little bit of PPC. But honestly, it's always been a little bit of just finding out what's working in the market and just going with that. And that's kind of what a good business owner has to do, in my opinion, is you always have to adapt. There's never going to be one marketing model that works perfectly, or else everyone would be doing it. So you're going to have to learn something new. So PPC kind of like fell to me after PPO was a little bit too expensive. I think I honestly got big into it when the whole launch control thing when they stopped allowing people to text. So everyone was not doing text anymore, or everyone was going into PPL, and it got too expensive. So I just figured, hey, let me jump into PPC, try to control my own ads, and try to get my cost per lead down, my cost per acquisition down. And yeah, that's kind of how I started that way.
Okay. How do you get started if you want to start doing your own PPC? How do you even get started? I really don't even know, bro.
Yeah.
I only know this agency is good, this agency is bad. If to start doing it yourself, what is the first step?
I mean, there's a couple ways to do it. I mean, the way I did it was trial by fire. Honestly, I hired a local ad agency off the recommendation of someone in a real estate group I'm in, and my goal was to kind of tailor them to my business. So I found a local agency who knew my demographic, knew what Philadelphia people search, knew what advertisements worked for them, and it honestly wasn't even directed just towards PPC. It was kind of just like presence marketing. It was, are we going to do those signs you see walking by, the scooter signs, the orange bikes, say, put your ad here? Was it going to be those? Was it going to be ads in a subway? What was it going to be? So I hired them to say, hey, what works in Philadelphia for their marketing? And after about 3 months of working with them, about like 10, 15 grand ad spend, I got about 20, 30 leads, but no deals. And I wouldn't even call them real leads because every single person wanted me to help them find an apartment or to find them a rental.
Okay, so you spent money with the wrong searches.
I was. So I went back to the company, and of course we had a meeting every couple of weeks, but it was the first time I was using someone like that. They told me, in 2 weeks it'll get better, next 2 weeks it'll get better, and then 3 months later, I was like, this is crazy. So I ended up, at that point, I reached out to another company. I said, hey, can you audit my searches or my optimization, whatever's going on? And they were like, you need to fire this company immediately. Whatever they're doing is
it's crazy. Yeah.
I found out they didn't have any negative keywords. So in the PPC world, that means it's like it's a word that doesn't come up. So if you want to sell your house fast and you put a negative keyword in for like a realtor, if someone Googles sell my house to a realtor, my search won't come up. But everything they were searching was sell my house to a realtor, which is not what I want because I want to buy a house as is. I'm the opposite of a realtor. So
opposite of a realtor.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, not really, but just different business model. So that everything they were doing was going towards finding realtors, and I tried telling them that wasn't it, and they just either way, I ended up firing them. It just wasn't what I was happy with. So that was my first experience, kind of literally just death by fire, just spending money and finding out the hard way, which kind of sucks. But it's good when you have your own money involved because you can actually you have a little bit more pride in it or care for what's going on. You're a little bit more focused on it. Unless it's somebody else's money,
Of course, bro. Of course. So, all right. So they don't work. Then what do you do?
So then I went to another agency. At that point, I actually did it myself. I just said, this can't be that hard.
Yeah.
I just used basically the similar keywords that they were using. I changed it a little bit to what I thought would work a little bit better. I added some keywords. I honestly just sat down and watched some Alex Ramosi videos, some other YouTube marketing videos. And
so you taught yourself on YouTube?
A little bit. Kind of. I mean, YouTube University, I did the best I could. I honestly just try to think as a seller would. What would I do if I was a distressed seller and I was stressed out about selling my house, or I was going for foreclosure or divorce or whatever they search? So I was just thinking, what would I search in Google? And there's a lot of crazy things, honestly, like mess up your spelling. Like one of my keywords that would work well was like sell my house today, not sell my house today, because these people are sometimes they're not thinking right or something. Yeah. So you gotta think about it in their perspective, or whatever. Sell my house online because they don't want to have showings, or sell my house without viewings, or just whatever the seller would think. So you gotta think in their position. But and it also comes down to talking with the sellers too. It's like, hey, why'd you click my ad? Why'd you search it? And again, that comes with a lot of optimization, testing out landing pages, testing out Carrot, testing out Weblioms, testing out multiple other options, seeing what converts the best or something. So there's a bunch of options, trying out Facebook. It's really YouTube ads, discovery ads. There's honestly a plethora of options out there. There's really nothing that works directly. I've always said everything works if you focus on it long enough and you just become the expert at it. So I think at the end of the day, that's what you got to do, is find one method and just stick with it.
I fucking dig that, bro. I dig that. So right now, you're still doing your own? You're still managing your own?
Now, right now, I'm using a new person, actually. It's a friend of mine who manages for another company, and he used to work at a big company. I forget what exactly it was, but it was a major ad agency, like doing like the infrastructure and stuff. So he works for a small company now, like a startup, and he manages their ads. And he was like, hey, like the stuff that you're doing, they're paying for a crazy management fee. I'll do it for you for free. So let me just like I'll be like the test run for you. And if it works out, maybe I'll give the service out to other people. So it's honestly not going too well, to be honest. Working on it a little bit, but I'm probably gonna go a different route in a couple of weeks. But
all right,
you got to try it, you know.
So when you do it yourself, it works well. It sounds like it, but it also sounds like if you have an agency do it, it doesn't work as well.
It really all depends.
So you're saying no, or no?
It really all depends. I mean, I've had mixed results on all of them. I like to think I got lucky, honestly, when I did it myself and got a deal, but it was also proof that this stuff's really not that hard. It's just, at the end of the day, you're plugging in what people search, and are they going to search your thing, and are you going to respond to it? So at the end of the day, it really comes down to budget, and that's the thing. It's a lot of people think you get into this stuff with $2,000, $3,000, but in reality, that's going to get you 10 clicks. And in like the PPC world, or depending on what marketing you're in, if you're selling something like apartments, people are searching that left and right. A cost per click may be $5, but in our space, we have 40, 50 people bidding for that highest need to sell my house fast bid. So a bid for us or someone clicking my website may cost $100. So if you have a $3,000 a month bid, you have 30 clicks on your website.
How many clicks do you need? Way more than that.
I mean, they say you probably can get at least 10 clicks to get one lead. And one lead, you're probably going to go through 15 leads to get a deal. So if you're going to go through 100 or 15 clicks to get one lead, that's $1,500 in clicks. Yeah. And then you got to go through 15 leads to get a deal. So you're talking $5,000-$6,000 to get a deal. Everyone thinks you can go for $2,500.
You can't.
You can't. It's comes down to numbers at the end of the day.
Yeah. How does the bidding system work with that? Is that something that you could explain?
Yes and no. And that, on Google Ads, there's a bunch of ways that you can talk about, or you can have a bid strategy. You can do maximized conversion. You can do manual cost per click, where you say, hey, I don't want to spend more than this.
All right.
But it really all depends. The way I wouldn't even say I like to do it, because again, I'm always testing, is I honestly, I try to give it to Google and let Google do its thing, because Google's a lot smarter than me, honestly.
Dude, you're a smart guy, my boy. Yeah, buddy.
But none of us are going to be as smart as but none of us are going to be as smart as Google. I mean, I like to think they know what they're doing. I mean, you can argue that Google wants you to spend more, so they're going to bid your prices up, and they're not going to give you the best conversion. But if it works, it works, you know. So I'm not going to argue too much.
Don't argue. What the hell? 15 leads, you can get a deal with the PPC.
Hopefully, if you're good with it. I mean, it's also going to come down to your closing ability at the end. I said before on Drew's podcast that if you got to think about who you're competing with and stuff, if you're just going to go run Google Ads and think, I can get 15 people to call my website because I got $6,000 to spend, you're not going to get a deal, because you're going to be competing with people like me or Nick or the other guys running these ads who have, I mean, I don't have a big sales team, but they're the people who can wholesale your house, buy your house as a rental, flip your house. They can bring partners on, they can Jay-Z it. So if you're just someone who's like, hey, let me just go spend $10,000 to get a rental, it's probably not going to be that easy. You got to know what you're doing with these leads. You got to have cadence. You got to follow up right away. You have to. It's a lot more than just putting out the money.
When you get a lead, how quick do you call these people?
If you're not calling within 60 seconds, or you're making a big mistake. I mean, the way you got to think about it is, if you're stressed, right? If you if you get a letter in the mail today and you're about to lose your house in a month, so you go online and you see the top 4 ads and you say, need to sell my house fast. You click the first one and you fill out your information, and you don't hear back. You're stressed out. You're like, hey, like, I need to sell my house in a month. I'm going to lose it. The sheriff just called me. So you're going to go on the back page. You're going to call the second person. Then you're going to call the third person. So the way you got to think is like, I need to call this person back before they can fill out that other form. I need to solve their problem. I need to figure out why they're scared or why they're putting this inquiry. And so if you're not getting it within 30, 40 seconds,
they already moved on to somebody.
They're on the next website. That guy may be offering more. That guy may be better or quicker close, or you just lost that opportunity. I've had many times where a seller just says, hey, we're not going to answer anyone else's phone calls. We respect that you were here so quickly. We put an inquiry in at 11 o'clock. You were here by 2 o'clock. We have an agreement by 2:30. I'm happy with everything. So a lot of times these people are stressed. They need to know that customer service and ability to respond, and is a big factor.
Huge factor.
So yeah, it's a big thing. And I like to say with me, I mean, my company's Mark Buys Your Home, so I like to think it's convenient that if someone calls my website or anything, it goes right to me. Some people like that, that there's not going to be a secretary answering it, and there's going to be a transaction lady or something. It's all me, which has its pros and cons. I mean, sometimes I'll be too busy and I'll miss a phone call, but some people also prefer that. But that's it's a seller preference and being able to close that deal.
Yeah, for sure. How do you make sure you're able to call them so fucking quick? Because you have a life, you out here doing stuff, you know?
It's tough, honestly. I'm not the best with it. I'll be honest, but you got to have the right systems in place. The big thing I'll do is I have like a drip campaign with my website. So if a lead puts a lead on my website or something, they go automatically into my CRM. My CRM will automatically text them, hey, thanks for your inquiry. Here's a link to my website, or here's a link to some information about us, my YouTube thing that I was talking to you about. Just here's who you're working with. Here who you can expect a call from. Maybe that will delay them a couple minutes from calling another website or something else. And they'll be like, hey, I really like this guy. He seems like he knows what he's talking about. So I'll have like an automated text go out to them saying,
oh, that's good.
So they know that they're getting a response right away. They'll get an email, a call, or they'll get an email and a text right away. And they'll also get like a Calendly link, like saying, hey, if you don't want to be called right away, put in
here, when do you want to get called?
When do you want to get called too. And sometimes they'll put in everything they want to talk about. They'll say, here's the reason. Well, because when you put in the Calendly, it'll say name, email, reason for your call. Yeah. They'll put in everything you need to talk about right there.
Man, that's cool.
It's nice.
It's good shit.
It's nice. And ironically, I was talking with one of my buddy this morning because the seller was saying how they want to sell their house because they're getting divorced. And unfortunately, the guy bought the house like 6 months ago. And I was saying to my friends, like, I was ashamed, like, the guy gets married, and now he's getting divorced. He's buying a house 7 months later. And my friend, he was like, because I sent him the screenshot, and he was like, oh, like, you like, why didn't you like ask about the guy's divorce? And I was like, think about it. Like, this guy put an inquiry in last night at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
He's not looking to talk to some stranger on a website about divorce advice or emotion advice. Like, he's looking to talk about like how he can sell his house fast,
exactly,
how quick I can buy it.
He doesn't want to talk about his fucking divorce with you.
No, he doesn't know why.
Yeah.
He's like, I saw your website. How fast can you buy my house? So you gotta like know what you're talking about. You gotta have like good cadence with these people and stuff. So
yes,
yeah,
man, that's fucking smart, bro. I love that it does that. Where's your website through? Mine's through Carrot, and I'll buy that. I don't know if I can set anything up like that in Carrot, but
so I have two. I have one on Weblium and I have one on Carrot. I think my one on Carrot performs a little bit better.
Okay.
I like the look of it better. My one on Weblium is also like a landing page. It's literally like a one-page thing. It doesn't have like an about us.
All right.
Some before and after page or like work we've done or where some of our properties are. So my website is kind of more of like a credibility thing almost too. It has like 6-7 pages. It'll be a contact us page, an about us page, work we've done page, all kinds of that stuff.
Good.
And so I test them out a little bit more, but I like Carrot because it's just a simple website.
Wow, it's so simple. It's so simple. Hell yeah. So how many deals? It's a little bit different because you don't just wholesale. So Mark doesn't just wholesale. Mark does wholesale, novations, and flips, and rentals. Jack of all trades. So yeah. How many deals are you at, like, regardless of the type? You know, how many deals are you doing a month, you'd say, to this?
It all depends because it fluctuates, honestly. If you're looking at getting 60 deals a month, which is probably at, let's just say
60.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you're looking to get like 60 leads a month, which is probably like a 20 grand ad spend, you're looking at, I would say, hopefully 3 to 4 deals closing in the next 60 days. That's the goal. Obviously, you'll probably get one more in a follow-up, but my goal is to get one deal with every 15 leads I get, and at that point, it's kind of like reverse engineering. How much do I want to spend? How much do I want to get this month? Do I have the bandwidth to spend that much? Some months I may have 6 closings where I have to be more hands-on with the title company.
Yeah.
I have to be I'm finishing some rehab, so I have more inspections going on, meeting with contractors, so I may not want to spend that much money. I may want to spend a little bit less. So
you won't be able to maybe handle all the leads at that time.
Mm-hmm. So you have to realize like the point of diminishing return too, though. Like you don't want to completely turn off your ad spend, or else you can lose a really good opportunity. And you obviously don't want to spend too much because someone else is going to get that deal that you could have worked. Yeah. It's also another thing that you really that I think is really important is that with direct or inbound marketing is you really do have to have a good service to these clients because they're reaching out of typically a bad situation or like desperation. They're Googling how to sell my house fast. So these people are a lot of times they're in foreclosure, and some people may not. They may get a bad luck of the draw and contact 4 bad websites or 4 bad investors, and no one can help them out. So you really got to like take that in consideration too. Is like, hey, like I got to make sure that I'm putting my best foot forward for these people and helping them solve their situation. So that's also a very important thing, because a lot of these people, like I said, they're in a bad situation. They need help.
Yeah, so you provide a better service? Fuck, bro. You get better deals.
100%.
Hell yeah. And you go to all the... do you go to all the appointments? How do you determine whether you go or not?
So I try not to go on appointments. I try to get a rough gauge on the rehab level of the property.
Just on the phone with him?
If they can send me a photo, that's my preference. But typically you can get an estimate of what you need to do.
All right.
One thing I will say, though, is, and this is a Pace Morby quote, is that buyers are liars, sellers are worse.
Oh, yeah.
So if a seller says their house is livable, it was just updated.
It's dicked.
It was probably rehabbed in like the 2000s. It may be livable, but you probably still have to redo like the copper piping and plumbing, and probably have to redo some electric and stuff. So I just realized that like I don't think I've spent less than $40,000 on a rehab since, and that's literally just doing a bathroom, kitchen, updating plumbing, electric, and paint, flooring, paint, and like a clean out stuff. And rehabs are expensive.
40 grand. That'll cost you about 40 grand in most cases.
For a typical room, yeah. I mean, rehabs are very expensive. So if it's a detached house where it's like a 1,800-foot single family house with weird angles and stuff, maybe a little bit different, but you can pretty much gauge a rehab after you've done a couple. So I try not to go to the house. I try to get like an estimate from what the seller's talking about. Smart. And unless they're giving me a ballpark price that's workable, I won't do it. And I'm big on like the push-pull method with sellers, where you really want to get them to say like, hey, like I'm ready to work with you. So another thing I'll do is like I'll tell them like, hey, like we've talked about your situation, what needs to be solved, why you want to sell your house, what we can do when you do sell. So if I do come out today and I bring a contract with me, like, and we agree to everything, are you ready to move forward?
Yeah.
And if they say no, like I still need more time, typically I won't even waste my time going on that, because I want someone to
want to be able to make a decision.
They want to move forward. And especially with the legislation thing that just came out, that I know we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying wholesale is becoming illegal, that you're not going to be able to wholesale houses, but I'm not really worried about that, because at the end of the day, we're problem solvers, and we get rewarded with real estate.
Yes.
So
that's a good way to fucking put it, bro. I like that.
100%. So that's the way I look at it. Is if we're able to tell all these sellers like, hey, they want to work with us, they want to move forward with us. I tell a lot of people who are looking to get into this in real estate too, that you shouldn't even like talk numbers with a seller until the seller has literally said, you've solved my problem. Like, are you ready to buy my house? Like, the seller should be asking you
to buy the fucking thing,
how much you're paying. Like, you want to get in a situation where you figured out everything with the seller doesn't know what to do, but Nick has solved their problem. And now the only thing stopping them, Nick is the one. You got to get in a situation where the seller, you're sitting there at the table, and you have her moving company lined up, and she's so thankful, and she's like, wait, aren't you going to buy my house now? She's like, oh, of course I will. How much are you willing to let it go for? Like, how much would you sell it to me for? And you want it for $150? She's like, oh, well, I can't pay that. But Nick, I need you to sell it to me. Like, you help me out. Like,
you need to buy it.
That's kind of like the way I take the approach. I try not to give a number. I just say, I have my number in my head, and I ask them where they need to be. And if it doesn't work for me, I'm just like, hey, glad I could help you, but I can't buy the house. And hopefully they want to come back. It doesn't always work, but
it works enough.
It works enough.
It works enough. It just has to work enough, motherfucker.
You don't need to do 100 deals. I mean, it would be nice, but you don't need to go for that 3K deal or that 2K deal or a lot. And again, buyers are liars, sellers worse. Every single seller will say, oh, well, I have Joe Schmo offering 75 grand, but you really have to be a 60 grand. Well, if you come up to 75.5, will you get it? No. Like, he can have it.
Yeah, if he's willing to do that, he deserves it.
It's not worth it at the end of the day. No. Or they're probably going to come back.
Yes. When you make your offers, how much do you calculate to make as a spread with your offers?
So it depends on a lot of factors. Typically, I'll go between like the 70 and 75% rule, the Burr strategy. To me, that's kind of like an outdated thing. I don't really like that, because everyone thinks that 70 to 75%, it's a good deal. I think that's completely false. It's only good for rental properties. You can only look at that as if you're going to cash out, refinance the property, and that's it. And if you're looking at a $1.2 million flip, you're leaving $280,000 of profit on the table for the investor. I mean, but what if it's a 2-month rehab? No one needs to go make 140 grand in 2 months or per month.
Yeah.
So I think
On one deal.
On one deal. So
They're not going to let you do it.
yeah, exactly. So I like to like talk to the investor. What's their goal? Are they buying a house cash? How much they need to make per month in the deal? What's their ROI? Or just what kind of like numbers are they looking for? Like me personally, if I'm looking at a flip, most of my properties are a 4-week rehab, 6 weeks to close. So I'm in and out for 3 months. So my goal is to make between 10 and 15 grand a month on a flip. Ideally, I want to make more. My goal is to make at least 20. But if some realtor sends me a deal and I know I'm going to make 10 grand a month in the next 3 months,
You'll fucking do it.
I'll do it.
Look at this. Anywhere in southeastern PA, Mark will do it. Not Philly, but Mark will do it.
No Philly for me.
No
Unless it's like
Philly.
Fishtown or something.
Okay.
Even that, maybe.
Maybe. Northeast is good. Northeast is the suburb, I swear.
Northeast is nice. I'll wholesale in Northeast, though.
I don't know if it's nice, but they love it. They love it. I don't know.
They do love it up there. That's good wholesaling. That's prime wholesaling.
Russians love it over there.
Yeah, they do. Yes,
Oh,
they do.
man. Dang. All right. So the PPC man in the building. I love it. What do you spend in a month on PPC? Most months. Because I know it fluctuates based on your bandwidth, you think. What is a good, or forgive me, what is a good budget to have if you want to do it and actually not piss your money away, you think?
I think your minimum spend should be around like 12 grand, honestly,
Okay.
a month. This month alone, I spent about 15, and that's kind of why I was upset with my guy. We spent too much this month. It's only the 10th or something. So
Yeah.
I like.
And you've already spent 15 racks.
Yeah, and I like to spend it over a month, and most of it was like during the holidays too. So I was like, I didn't think people were going to be bidding then, and for some reason it was like triple expensive.
Crazy.
So, I mean, hopefully, I got a lot of leads to start the month, but
Oh, okay, good.
hopefully they convert. But if they don't, you know how that can be.
That's true.
So,
That's true. Mark told me he doesn't have a follow-up process because the deals happen so quick. Is that still true?
well, it is partly true. I mean,
Look at that. That's wild.
it is. It is unfortunate. I mean, I did just hire 2 lead managers to focus on that more.
Oh, did you really?
I did.
Hell yeah.
I finally hired some VAs.
Fucking
Upward.
finally, bro. You Mr. Money Man. Why didn't you spend some of this?
It's honestly crazy because, and that's what I was thinking. I mean, I'm spending 15 grand a month in data, but I don't want to spend 2 grand a month on a VA.
Yeah, what are you doing? Oh, man. This is going to be awesome for you, bro, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm excited. I got like 3 appointments from them so far in like a week.
Is that true? And they're just cold calling well, they're not cold calling because they were PPC, but they're just calling up all your old leads?
Yeah,
That's fucking awesome.
smart.
It's good, man.
Yeah, we're
Where
starting
you been in what country?
The Philippines, I think.
Okay. Nice.
It's through some agency, honestly. I'm not even sure.
Oh, all right, cool. Then they'll manage them even too.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you got to manage the company.
I know. So it's not my strong suit.
That's all right.
But yeah, my follow-up process isn't good. But that's the thing with PPC is, I mean, they're probably going to close within that month or they want to. So typically you can get a good gauge on if they want to close soon. And that's why I say, I mean, you should close 1 and 15 within 30 days. But, I mean, you're going to close probably 2 and 15 within the next year. But me being a one-man person or a one-man band, and I was actually talking to Zaspel about this today, there's a difference between ROAS, which is return on ad spend, and as a term I've never heard about, which Zaspel told me about today, is return on effort.
Okay.
Which I've never heard before. And I know I've mentioned this to you, is that like,
I like that. Talk to this.
because remember how I mentioned to you, I focus on my dollar per hour and what I make per hourly. And that's why I'm not a fan of cold call, because you may get a lead for $150 and it may make you 10 grand. So theoretically on cold call, your return on ad spend is 150, whatever. $100 lead made you 15 grand. But you had to manage 2 VAs to get that. You had to follow up with that lead for 6 months. You probably call that lead 60 times. You didn't get that money back for 9 months. And that was a lot of man hours in that. So yeah, the return on ad spend was 150x, but like, what was your dollarly hour or your hourly cost? Maybe $50 an hour. Yeah. So the return on effort, that I really like that term for, it's how much effort did you put in that lead? Yeah, maybe spent $1,500, or maybe I spent $5 grand on that lead, but maybe 15 grand. So I made 10 grand on that lead in 3 phone calls.
That's fucking great.
So that's the way I look at it. And yeah, it's expensive and it's stressful, but it's also nice to know that at any time I can like crank it up and say, okay, like let me just see.
More.
It may not work out. I mean, I've had times where I spent $20,000 on one provider or one thing that didn't work out at all. So you really got to know what you're doing. And I'm also not going to blame that provider. I'm going to say like, hey, maybe I wasn't following up enough. Maybe something I did was wrong.
A mix of a bunch of things.
100%. I didn't
Not
have
just them.
my follow-up's crappy. Heck, I was just talking to one of my buddies at CG, and he's closing 1 in 5 in one provider that I was like, they're terrible. So
Wow.
you never know. But there's a lot of factors going into it.
A lot of factors, man. That's some big boys spent too. Big boys spent the other month. They text me. So I accidentally spent $22,000 this week. I was dying.
But another really interesting thing I heard is that my buddy Jock said this. Find out how much you want to make in that year and say it's $500,000.
Yeah.
Divide that by 4, and that should be your ad spend. Because you should a healthy business aims for 4x return on income or return on ads. So if you spend $100,000, you should get $400,000 back.
Yeah.
And then after that, you can say, okay, well, I have operational costs that are 20% for Dispo, 10% for TC, 10% for acquisition. So after all that, I should make $200,000. So you can bake all that in, or you can say, be like me and you, where we do the Dispo, we do the acquisitions, and we'll take 100% of it. So it depends how you want to look on the business. Do you want to be in the fire every day, or do you want to have the management side? You know how you and I are, but
Yeah.
that's how I look at that.
Dude, I like doing it myself. And so do you.
It keeps me busy. I mean, I'm young, so I enjoy it, but I feel like when I'm like 40, 45, I'll be sick of it.
I don't know, bro. I see Tim T. Tim T is putting the hours in, and like I just feel like that's like my spirit, you know?
Yeah.
Like I understand that. Dude, fuck it. I think like I love what I do.
Nah,
You love it, bro. You dig into it.
It is true. I mean, it does really honor. It gives me like a purpose every day. Like I don't know what I would do without real estate and stuff. Like it's fun.
Hell yeah, it's addicting.
Like I got this guy that I'm like kind of training a little bit, like interning a little bit, and
Okay.
he was asking me like, well, he was actually with me on that appointment today.
All right. Is that the people that I talked to at one point? Did I talk to
Antonio,
I don't know. You had me talking to someone. I don't fucking remember what his
maybe.
name
But
was.
yeah, he was asking. He came on the appointment with me today. He's like, "What's your favorite part about real estate?" I was like, "It's that you just figure it out every day." Like last week, he went on an appointment with me. We had cops show up because the guy was divorcing his wife, and the wife wouldn't let us in to give a value. So we called the police. The police had to let us in. Today, he gets to meet Zaspel, and he's just like, "What do you guys do every day?" I was like, "Dude, we just get lunch. We just talk about houses, and we just figure it out."
We just talk to our boys and like brainstorm making plays and making money. Bro.
I said too, I was like, I'm going to go film a podcast with my boy after this, and hopefully someone on Instagram or Facebook will see it and be like, hey, my aunt wants to sell a house in Delco. Let me call Mark, and hopefully that turns into $20,000 profit or something.
Exactly.
But I'm just having fun with my boy.
Damn right, that's part of it. Bro, I gotta meet Zaspel. You gotta meet that link for me. I don't even know this guy, and I know he's a famous person in our world, right? Like, what the fuck? And he's got some game.
He's gonna be on a podcast soon. He asked me to be on it.
To
I told him I was coming here. He said he wants to be on it.
No, he didn't, bro. Yeah.
Now he's got to be on it now.
Yeah, Zaspel. I want it, baby. I want the smoke. Come on. I love it. You're an legend. I love that.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, I've been wanting to talk to Zaspel.
Yeah, he's a heavy hitter. He's got a system dialed in too, though. I was talking today. He's got like 12 people, so he's a smart guy the way he runs his business.
Yeah, man. I listened to his when he was on Drew's podcast, and I was like, I fucking like this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved everything he said. I was like, I fuck with this bull heavy.
He's very corporate the way he focuses on business. Like, he has
that's cool.
A person for everyone. He really just tries to get the deals locked up and doesn't look at it until it's done, which I respect him. That's the way you want to do it. But then again, I mean, some people are different. Someone was asking me, why do I like to flip houses instead of wholesale? And
yeah,
I honestly, I don't love talking to sellers. It bothers me.
Fair.
Talking to 1,000 people a day. But I like seeing before and afters. I like when someone walks in my house and like, holy shit, like, this is a beautiful bathroom. This is a beautiful kitchen. Like, I love what you do with this. Like, I think that's
cool. Good.
Yeah, it's cool to like see the physical before and afters and stuff. And I'm honestly like really, I want to say I'm just better with managing contractors. I'm better with just that side. I'm not good at managing VAs. I'm not good at that stuff, but I'll make it work because I have to. But it's
the contractor, you're good at it. You see them in person. It's better.
It's easier for me to manage. I can go sit with them for an hour and be like, what are you guys doing? You're doing this wrong and stuff. I get an inspection report at the end of the month from when I sell the house. I see, hey, you messed this up. You messed this up. I don't have to do it myself and go read 5 hours of VA calls. It's like, it's a little bit more fun for me. I enjoy it. I like being on the road. I don't like being stuck in my office all day. So it's got to find a business model that works for you and make it work.
Damn.
Like, I know you love slinging the phones.
I don't love it, but I'll do it. I like it, though.
I'll walk up there and you'll be at the pool with your headphones in, like on Mojo Dial.
I'm getting it. I got both these phones going off every 2 seconds. That's what happens when you're a one-man band. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But my return on effort right now is fucking fire. Because I don't like cold call really for the same reasons that you don't like cold call. And I'll tell you what. Do you know what? I was with Drew the other day on his pod. And he was saying that cold call's doing really well for him. So what the fuck? You know what I mean? And you're liking it right now. But the return on effort I haven't loved. My return on effort with these texts and with the agent outreach is just incredible, bro. I don't even talk to anybody that often. Most of the people don't even want to hear my voice. They just want to talk to me via text.
Yeah.
It's like it's cheating. That's awesome.
Yeah, I do love the text. I'm a big fan because it just makes it easier.
Yeah.
You can blast out 1,000 texts.
Hell yeah. And even with the agent outreach, I make 10 offers a day to agents. Just text. Easy.
And the problem with cold calling, too, is you'll put out 1,000 calls, and the next thing you know, you have 20 people calling you back at once, and then you're just missing out on that opportunity. Especially half these people, they only call you once a week or something. So it's like you miss out on that one call because you're on the phone with someone else, and there goes your shot.
Good luck trying to get them back. That was your one opportunity.
Literally.
And if you're already on an opportunity, what can you do?
Yeah. I'm not going to hang up on that deal.
No way, bro. You can't.
Can't do it.
You can't. Cold call, I'm out. But I may start fucking doing it because, like, let's say I skip trace a list, I can only text 40-something, only like 40-something percent. 46% on average. It varies. When the average is 46, only 46% have text. So like, let's say I have a list of 1,000, I can only text like 460. So, well, I'm wasting half the data. I may just hire one VA to call it.
Well, what I think is really important, and Max Maxwell has a very good YouTube video about this, like the lead conveyor belt system.
You told me about and
it's, if you got to think about it, if you pull a list of 10,000 people, you got to think that in that 10,000, not every single one of them is going to be a millennial. And how does a millennial like to communicate? Probably through text message. How does a older person like to communicate? They probably don't. Like, I know my grandmom, she doesn't have an iPhone. She has a flip phone.
Yeah.
She's not going to text. So I have to call her, or if I have to mail her. So you have to like kind of know who your audience is. So I mean, I know with like batch and prop, you can pull a list of 65 and up. That list may be better for cold calling, where you may be able to pull a list of 20 to 40. That list is probably better for cold texting. But let's just say you pull a list of just 10,000 random houses. You want to do the cheapest option first, which is probably cold call. Cold call the first 10,000. You get 2,500 of them answer. Now you know those 2,500 said either take me off your list, I'm not selling, or now they're leads. Either way, you got a hold of them. Now you have 7,500. Now you text that 7,500. Now you're down to, you have 2,500 responses. You have the leads, you have the take me off your list or whatever. Now you have 5,000. Now you can mail those 5,000. So now, say you get another 2,000, or you're probably not going to get that, but another 500 respond or whatever. Now you're down to 4,500. So you kind of like limit your list size down to just make it cheaper more, because obviously mailer is $1.50 per mailer. So you don't want to go mail 10,000 people when you can eliminate 6,000 people from cold call and cold text.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to look at it. But I've always,
you don't want to mail. You don't want to mail them if they'll do a cheaper marketing.
If you can get that person to cold call or cold text, get them that way. It's going to spend 50 cents or $2. But if you're going to mail someone, it's going to cost you $50.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to just like filter out what leads you don't want to contact. But I do think it's the cold outreach has its pros and cons. Like, the only reason I do it is because I'm looking for like a specific neighborhood, or because I'm looking for owners who have 5 properties or more, because I'm looking to connect with some landlords. Someone wants to sell me a house every year, or someone wants a 1031 or something. So like, I'm looking for like a portfolio right now, like a small portfolio, because I want to add some rentals. That's the only reason I cold call and cold text. Or I don't need cold text, but I'm not really looking to get a lot of leads. So, but again, if someone wants to get something wholesale, you just cold call an entire random list.
You can do that for sure. But then your bandwidth.
Yeah.
Bandwidth, it comes down. That's fucking important.
Very. I mean, that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
How much you can handle.
Damn right. Like, you miss out on money not doing the follow-up. I'm missing out on the money not doing the cold call. But fuck it, I gotta I gotta hire one caller and put him to work at least.
Well, you guys also stick to what's good, though. I mean, the man who catches 2 rabbits catches none. So you got to just stick with it.
Oh, I like that.
That's why, like, I know you're always asking me, like, because you're good at cold call, and then you'll be doing cold text, and we'll do some mail. I always say just stick to one thing. That's why, like, all I'll do is, like, PPC and PPL. Like, I won't do anything else.
Yeah.
And obviously, the cadences and how you, like, talk to each seller is a little bit different, but I just think just stick to one thing. Just put all your budget there. Like, that's why a lot of, like, bigger company, where like, people have been wholesaling for little, like, they'll want to get into, like, PPC or something, and they'll be, okay, well, I can get by with $5,000 a month cold call. Let me just go put $3,000 a month in PPC, and then it doesn't work because they stretch themselves thin, or they take their $5,000 a month budget, they split it in half, and now they don't make any money because they don't have enough leads for either side, like marketing. Yeah. So you just got to stick to one thing and just focus on it. I mean, with any marketing you do, you should focus on doing it for 6 months, I think. So if you're gonna, like with me, or if what I would say is, if you want to do PPC, I'd say factor in spending $12,000 a month minimum, and probably
6 months.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I mean, you gotta go.
That's a lot of money.
I would probably put $66,000 away. Is that? I think. I hope that's right, man.
Dude,
probably
close enough to my mind. 67 racks. You fucking put it in the side.
You just put it aside and say, hey, this is gonna be there. We're like, and you gotta know, like, I'm gonna get a deal from that. Another really good analogy I like too. It's like, it's almost like the slot machines too. It's like, if you have $20,000 to spend, and every slot you pull is like $500, you have 40 opportunities, I think. Yeah. So if each one of those opportunities can go make you $20,000, you're gonna go pull that slot machine a lot,
bro, for sure.
So, but you gotta have the reserves. I mean, again, you gotta know what you're doing. You don't want to just spend that and not know what you're talking about.
And not actually be able to do it. So you gotta be a player. You gotta know how to handle these fucking leads that you're spending all this money to get, obviously.
And that's why, like, I don't think, like, it's good for a person who just wants to get into wholesaling to.
No, you got to be good at wholesaling to do it. It's a big boy strategy.
Yeah, it's good to go through, learn how to cold call, learn how to talk with sellers, learn how to, like, even though my follow-up isn't good, I bet you it's still 99.9% better than
a lot of people do that.
Like, I bet you I'm following up better with people who have 3-4 people acquisition team. Because, like, when I'm putting out $10,000 a month, I'm like, I'm calling you 3 times a day for an entire month.
Yeah,
like,
I'm obsessed with you. Give me this fucking house.
Yeah, like, I'm like wringing out the sweat rag that month. Like, I'm getting my money's of that month. I may be leaving some money behind, but I'm getting like that month's worth. So, but yeah.
Hell yeah, I love that. You doing some serious? How many deals do you have right now? Like this month, how many deals will you close?
I'm buying.
How many deals are you buying, or are you wholesaling, or like not things that you're closing on, like flips that and like an owner on?
Yeah. So I know I'm buying one flip on Friday, buying another wholesale on Friday. I am closing on 2 wholesales this week or next week, and I think I'm buying like 2 more flips later in the month.
Hell yeah!
So I'm probably doing like 6 deals this month. 4 that I'm buying. And then
all
2
from
PPC. I think so. PPC or PPL. The one deal that I'm wholesaling is actually a really interesting deal. I signed the deal roughly around Easter of last year, and I had to file this pendants. And long story short, the seller told me, I have another offer for $20,000 higher. If you match it, I'll go through with you. I said, I'll give you $10,000 more. And he said no. So he ghosted me, filed this pendants. First time I ever gone all the way to like the highest court, and the judge granted me specific performance to buy the house. So a week later, we're doing a title search, and it turns out that there is another heir on the property. So I was like, oh, well shit, the deal is effectively dead because I don't have...
They're contacted, probably.
I don't have a rightful contract because it's not signed by both heirs. So this also goes by having... making good relationships is very, very important in this industry.
Important, bro.
It's one of the most important things, honestly, because it'll always get you deals. About 3 weeks later, or 3 weeks ago, my attorney in Delaware calls me up, and he's like, the guy who filed specific performance for me. He's like, hey, by the way, somebody just called me, and he's under contract on another house with the sister of that guy who owns that house, and he's buying their house. And I don't know how this is working out, basically.
That's
but
crazy.
He is able to, like, sue the brother who, like, I sued, because, like, the sister is basically the guy when he inherited the house and he filed probate. he did it with himself being the only heir and left his sister out. So his sister is like, screw my brother.
Get this guy.
He's trying to scam me out of the house. Like, go take his mortgage money or whatever. Like, and then get the house
from him.
So yeah, a year and a half later, we'll close on that house like this or next week.
That's crazy.
That's why I say list penance are always essential.
Yeah. Oh, but he's always telling me, because sellers will walk cut me, and a lot of times I'll just fucking let him go, depending on the reason, right? Yeah, not Mark. Not Mark the Shark. Mark the Shark's filing his pendants, blocking that sucker.
I mean, it's only like $1,250 plus you have the ongoing costs. Like that one, I actually took to Pacific Performance, like, all the way to the judge.
Damn.
So I actually spent like probably like $8 to $10,000 total in attorney fees on that. But the good thing about it is that when it closes this week, is I'm going to get all those attorney fees back. So I'm going to get my assignment plus that back.
Oh, dang, really?
Nice.
That's cool. How much you going to make on it?
I wanted to make a little bit more, but...
Yeah, don't we all, Mr. Mark?
But kind of like I was just saying about relationships, the guy who is buying the house, he's like a 65-year-old guy. He's been buying houses forever. He's probably got like 150 plus units in Delaware. He's like not somebody you want to mess with. Like,
yeah.
Like he's like very well known.
The relationship is worth the money. Is worth it, bro.
And he basically told me, he called me up. He was like, hey, like, you can't close this house without me. And he offered, he was like, I'll give you like $5,000 for it. I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'd literally rather just fight it. And where I was like, I'll wait until the sister contacts me or something.
Yeah.
And he came up to 20, which is nice.
Oh,
so I'm gonna get like 30 after my fees and stuff back. But I was like, dude, like I was gonna keep this property as a rental. And, like, it's a very good area. So then he was like, all right, well, in September I'm gonna sell like one of my rentals on Tennessee. I'm gonna sell it to you at a good deal. So I'm like, all right, like, all right, that works out. So I'm getting a good fee. I'm gonna hopefully get a rental from the guy in a little bit.
Man, that's awesome. 20 racks, whatever. The timeline sucks, but who cares?
But the biggest thing is, like, that's why, like, having a good relationship is important, because, like, my attorney, luckily, was his attorney. And my attorney was like, hey, like, it just so happens that I was the one who filed Pacific Performance for this house. And this guy, like, it's just like, what are the odds of that? Of that attorney working for that guy as well?
Small odds. And thank goodness that you got a good relationship with this bull, so it was even to happen.
Yeah, I'm glad it's working out that way.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. What is your average spread, do you think? If you, it's hard to tell, but because you do a lot of different types of deals. But
so if I'm taking a flip down, my goal is to make $60,000 when it's all said and done.
Okay.
And that's like the average number for a flip for me will be like buy it for 80, put 60 into it, sell for 225. Buy it for 100, put 40 into it, sell it for 215. House I'm buying Friday, I'm buying it for 195. I'm putting 80 into it. I'm hoping to sell it for 370. So numbers, I'm always hoping to make around like 60 when it's all said and done.
hell yeah.
And they're all about probably 3 months flips when it's all broken up. For wholesale, my goal is to make 20.
Okay.
I try to stay away from like the 5 and 10K deals.
Yeah.
What I've realized is that the hardest or the smallest fees are your biggest headaches. There's always title issues, or the seller just goes ghost, or I don't know. Maybe it's
it never works, bro. The real estate gods do not want you to do those. The sellers are not supposed to make that much money, and if you give that to them, it's going against what the real estate gods want. They punish you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm convinced of.
I don't get it. So I try to just stick with the bigger deals. And
Yeah.
I'd rather do 10, 50K deals than 105K deals. I don't even think that's possible.
Yeah,
105K deals.
Mark once told me, Nicky, if somebody offers me a $5,000 assignment, I'm going to buy it myself. Forget it.
I seriously would. I would rather take the risk on if someone like offered me. I remember it very well. It was the third rental property I ever bought, actually. One of my friends, I offered to sell him the house, and he literally told me, he was like, Mark, I'll buy this house for you, but I'll buy it for a $5,000 spread, and you will make more keeping it as a rental. So I bought that house for $62,000. I put $30,000 into it and appraised for $175,000.
Yeah.
So I was able to pull out $125,000.
And
I was all in 90, something like that.
And
so I was able to pull out $30,000 cash free with tax free.
Thank God you didn't give a $5,000 assignment.
And I kept it as a rental. I still get like $400 a month from it.
Nice.
So, and that's what I've kind of realized with like all my not all my burrs, but it's just having that exit strategy, saying like, hey, I can probably make more on a refinance than wholesaling this. So just being able to do that. And another thing is, if a buyer knows like Mark's not messing around, like They'll take your number.
more serious.
All right, fuck it. I really won't get it if I don't give them another extra 5 racks. All right, fine.
It may be a pro or a con sometimes too, because I've gotten to the point where I've sent someone a deal and they're like, well, why would I offer this? You're just going to buy it yourself. I'm like, well, I'll put it out for 80. Every time you offer me 79, take it for 80 and you can have it.
And you can have it, bro. What the fuck?
Like, this is my number. Yeah. Well, they just want to mess around, which I get it. Like, I do it too. If someone sends me a deal, I'm going to offer them 10 grand less. It's in our blood. We love the price cut, but well, not price cut, but lowball. But
right.
But yeah,
I love it. Animal. Last thing I want to talk about, bro. Break down these novations. How much money are you making in novations? There is a novation king in Philly. I promise you. There's Rich One. There's also Mark the Shark in Philly.
Novations are different.
How you pitching these to these sellers, bro? Everybody wants to know.
Probably about 25 on a novation. I've gotten lucky with a couple of them going over ask, but I try to keep novations simple, honestly. What I was actually doing with my novations is, a couple months ago, I slowed down my marketing and I was focusing on all my leads that wanted too much money, or I didn't consider dead leads, but just I wrote them off. Like I said, I don't really do much follow-up after the first month, so I was like, hey, let me go through some of these leads that I was at 200 for, or they were at 220 for. No wholesaler's going to buy it. The house was too clean, whatever. So I just called all of them up. I was like, hey, you wanted that extra money. 3 months have gone by. You haven't sold your house yet. Like, I'll come up 10 grand. You come down 5 grand. But you got to allow me to try something. They're like, oh, well, yada, 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 whatever. And I just tell them, like, this is what I'm going to propose. Like, let me get the house on lockbox. Let me show it to some or some retail buyers first. I'm going to tell them, like, hey, I'm going to put a new kitchen in for you. I'm going to do a bathroom for you. But like, you guys get the opportunity to choose what tile you want, what color bathroom you want, what color cabinets you want or something. And like, they may want to pay 40 grand more for the house, but it allows me to give you that extra 15 grand you wanted, because I don't have to buy the house. I don't have to go pick out the material myself at Home Depot. I don't have to go worry about that bullshit. I can just go say, hey, you're picking a house. What design do you want? And I'm just going to send my contractors.
See you later. And you're done.
And a lot of people like that because they think they're like, oh, we only hear that like the $1 million price. I'm getting a custom home for $250K. Yeah. It's not really custom. It's just like you got to choose the paint before I put it in.
Yeah.
So not really that big, but they think it's a little fancier. And 9 out of 10 times, or I would say like 19 out of 20 times, you don't even have to do repairs. They just take it as is, which is the beauty in it. But it allows you to take a conventional offer. It allows you to not have to close in 30 days. It allows you to go through the inspections and the appraisals and go through all that the seller doesn't want to deal with, because if anything does pop up, which is typically a $500 repair, I can go handle it. I'll go send my plumber, my electrician. I'll go tell him, hey, go put this GFCI in the kitchen. He'll charge me $250. But now a deal that was dead, I go make 25 grand.
Exactly. And the seller doesn't want to deal with any of that headache.
Hey, exactly. And having not a construction team, but having people who are like good subs for me that I can rely on. Yeah. I know I don't have to. I'm going to send some random contractor on Facebook that I just met. I can know, like, hey, I'm going to send someone out. He's going to take care of the repair easily. It's not going to be an issue.
Going to be fucking in and out of there.
In and out. It's second nature to me. I'm saying, hey, go fix this for me. And let me know what it's.
You need to give him work anyway, so it's perfect.
Exactly. It's honestly 100%. I mean, I keep my guys busy. It's almost like a win-win. That's why I did my first GC for an investor a couple weeks ago, because I didn't have a deal at the moment, but I wanted to keep my guy busy because I had 2 flips to do this month. And I needed to fill the void. So I was like, hey, let me go do this GC for you. Yeah. I'll go take a percentage of the profits, but you got the deal, you got the money.
How'd that work? How's it working with you right now?
It worked out well. The house went pending, actually, 2 days after we listed it.
Oh, that's fire, bro. Yeah. Congrats.
Thank you.
Oh.
Hey, first time doing GC.
Did you full offer?
Full offer, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it did if it went 2 days after, bro. If it went over.
Of course.
Animal, bro. You killed it. Killed it. Do you have, it's a dorky question, but do you have any goals right now for your business or what?
My big goal right now is to get to 15 rentals by the end of the summer. I think I have 12 right now.
Wow, bro, send him some fucking rentals. If you guys got deals, send him to Mark D. Shark. He wants to buy some stuff. Where are you buying rentals?
Wilmington's my bread and butter. I would love to buy anything in the city of Wilmington. Delaware County, I'll take a look at too. It's a little expensive, or for rentals at least, I'll look at anything there for flips, but for rentals, it's really tough to cash flow above like $150K in my opinion. So anything under $100K, I'd love to take a look at. But yeah, Delco, Chester, Wilmington, South Jersey. That's my bread and butter.
All right, there we go. And Mark, I got a lot of newbies. You got any advice for any of these people starting out?
Yeah, real estate, it's a very simple business, honestly, but it's hard work. You just got to make the calls. You got to make the dials. You got to put the effort out. You got to provide a value to people.
That's it.
It's really that simple. Everyone thinks, like, how do you find the leads? How do you get deals under contract? How do you run your numbers? It's really that simple. Even a lot of the wholesaling that I do, like me being like, I try not to go on appointments. So I'll send my good buyers that I have good relationships with. I'll be like, hey, go to this appointment for me. Tell me what you need it for, and I'll lock the seller out from there. So being able to like provide that value, you don't have to know everything, but all you have to do is just find motivated sellers. Walk around your town if you don't have money. You'll see some of the house with long grass or some like mail falling out of the mailbox, and just call them. And just call them.
Search.com for free. You get the number for free. Bam, call them.
Eventually, someone's going to say they're want to sell. And you're going to get your first 15 grand fee, and you're like, holy shit.
This is real. And then you can this time to get to work.
But yeah, at the end of the day, you just got to make the dials. It's simple. It's honestly one of the simplest businesses there is, in my opinion. You literally just call people.
Pick up the phone.
And 9 out of 10 times we're probably going to be smarter than, I don't like saying this, but we're probably going to be smarter than the person we're talking to. So
You're not looking for geniuses.
no, I mean, everyone's always so scared of like someone who's like in the insurance world or like a financial analyst, and they're calling like attorneys or teachers like, hey, do you want to give me your money? Like, that's hard. That's hard work. How are you going to convince someone who has a financial advisor for 15 years, convince him to go work with you?
Yeah.
I'd rather go work with some guy who's like, this is a saving grace. This guy called me out of nowhere for a house I didn't even know I owned, and now I'm going to go get 20 grand.
Damn right.
And that person wants to work with you.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
It's got to make them dials.
Them dials. Don't be a bitch. Make them dials. That's it. There we go. Mark, thank you so much, Judo Man. Pots and pans. I appreciate you a ton.
I appreciate you for having me, bro.
My God. How do they get a hold of you?
You can reach out to me on Instagram. My name's Moreys, Moreyyos. You can reach out to me. You can text me, 610-500-3592. And my name's Mark Morey. If you want to look me up on Facebook, my website is Mark Buys Your Own.
Mark Buys Your Own. I've been trying to tell him I make his Instagram name and everything. Mark the Shark. If you think Mark the Shark is good, comment below. Mark the Shark.
I just made a promo video or like a credibility packet with Enrique, and he's telling me to make my tagline. The hardest thing to do with Mark Buys Your Home, or I forget what it is. It's like something about like picking up the phone. The hardest thing to do is selling your home.
Pick up the phone. Yeah, right. Yeah, I saw it.
I get it.
Yeah, sell the Mark the Shark. There we go. All right, everybody.